Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. Um, First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to those of you who subscribed to my channel after my last video. It really meant a lot. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you so much. That was really encouraging, and thank you. Secondly, um, bear with me with my voice because I'm recovering from COVID. So if I end up sounding a bit like the Godfather, that's the reason why. Um, Now, following on from the retro video, I thought it'd be fun to explore some more. And so, for those of us who have fond memories of those things retro and vintage from our childhood or teen years, etc., I thought I'd begin by the number one retro item that has become a cultural icon. Um, it was a cube with different sides of different colours. You mixed it up, and the idea was that you basically bashed your brains out against a wall to try and figure how the hell you put this thing back together again. Um, it was an absolute nightmare, but addictive, and you just couldn't put the thing down. You had to figure it out, even if it took you like a million years. Um, so we're talking obviously about the Rubik's Cube, invented by Erno Rubik, a Hungarian sculptor and professor of architecture, who developed this as a 3D mathematical puzzle. What fun! Which, yeah, obviously took off and became big. It was released in '79 and then internationally in 1980. And yeah, I mean, it took the world by storm. I think everybody had one. I had one. Oh man, it was, yeah. I mean, some of us took the stickers off and put them all, back in the correct order to say we'd done it. Um, I would take the central stickers off the sides, get me dad's screwdriver, undo it, dismantle it, put it back together in the right order, and yeah, it was done. But of course, we all know and we all knew there was that one clever kid, wasn't there, who could just solve the Rubik's Cube, and we hadn't got a clue how he did it. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's still around today. My kids have got Rubik's cubes themselves now. Then they brought out, there was a sphere and a pyramid, I believe. Yeah, I mean, I got to confess, I did get those, but they weren't as captivating and exciting as that bloody annoying cube invented by that bloke, Erno Rubik. So, yeah, number one on the list, the Rubik's Cube. Okay, on my list at number two is the Atari 2600 video computer game system. Now, I remember this fondly when a friend of mine called Tomo, who was my best mate, uh, invited me over to his house one night, where I walked into the living room and I saw his dad and his elder brother frantically connecting this console to the TV, and within minutes, there they were playing Space Invaders. Now, I knew of Space Invaders. I'd seen it at the arcades when I'd gone on holiday somewhere and put a few, oh, I don't know how much it was, pence probably then, to have a go at this game. So there it was on the TV in this living room, sound effects and all. So I just remember, as I say, seeing this box there. And for some bizarre reason in the 70s and the 80s, we had this compulsion that whatever we could put wood veneer on, we would. And the Atari 2600 was no exception. There at the front of this video game console, of course, was the obligatory wooden veneer. But I just remember staying there. I don't think I had a go at it actually. But I think, they were obviously playing it. I noticed that they'd got cartridges for this game system. And I think they must have put in, I think it was Missile Command or something like that. But anyway, I just remember it thinking, you lucky git. My mate had got this Atari 2600. This was probably about 77, 78 maybe. But yeah, I think, again, another cultural icon. Even the joystick itself is a cultural icon anyway, really, when you think about it. It was a simple design, but you see the Atari 2600 in that joystick, and it just, depending on when you were born, it just sends you back to those days of yore when video games were all a bit clunky, graphic wise and sound wise, but they were a lot of fun. The Atari 2600. Right, next on my list, number 3, is the BMX, or the BMX bike. Now, for us here in the UK, the craze didn't really sweep the country until 1982, when pretty much every boy that wanted a bike was looking at the BMX. Now, I remember just how incredibly distinctive these bikes were. And to be honest, who wouldn't have been drawn in to want something like that? Something as cool as that for a start. I mean, I just remember being amazed at how strange and how different this bike looked. You had a blue frame with blue tyres and yellow wheel inserts. Not your metal spokes, which, seem to have become the norm for modern BMX bikes, but certainly at the time in the 80s, it was that the inside of those bike wheels just seemed to be like just incredible. They were just bright yellow, the tyres bright blue, the frame blue. It was just such a cool looking bike. And I remember the street level ones, there were no brakes on them either. So you could obviously, do all your tricks and everything without getting tangled up in brake cables. But the BMX really, really did take off. And it was a massive success. And obviously, you've got films like E.T. that brought bikes into the fore, and BMX Bandits, another film. But yeah, I remember wanting one of these, didn't get one, but heck, weren't those 80s BMX bikes the coolest thing you've ever seen? They were to me. Number 4 on my list is the video cassette recorder, the VCR. Wow. Do you remember those VCR wars? There was obviously VHS, Betamax, and of course, in the background, the Philips 2000. Did I nearly make a mistake and buy one of those? I'm glad I didn't. I know our school had Betamax, and I thought it was quite good actually in terms of quality, and I think it probably was. However, in these wars, VHS won. Now, I do remember desperately wanting a VCR, and I'd saved a lot of money of my own at that point. Can't remember how, but I did. And for my, I think it was a Christmas present, I asked basically for a VCR and I put a load of money to it. So I managed to get my own VCR. I was so pleased. So I could now record any television program I wanted, and I could watch it in my leisure. I could watch what the heck I wanted and record it on a tape. And it was absolutely liberating. I tell you, to have a VCR was an absolute game changer. So for me, having a VCR, although it was a bit fiddly with the old timer, you had to like fiddle around with those buttons, and obviously, yeah, we've all had those stories when we had VCRs of, oh no, I recorded the wrong program, or it didn't, or it cut off half of it, or whatever. But the VCR, that was an absolute game changer, as I say. So yeah, coming in at number 4, the video cassette recorder. And of course, and finally at number 5, this was a difficult one. I was going to go for the digital watch, but instead I've gone back to probably one of the first electronic instruments I had in my house, and that was the pocket calculator. Now I know they're still around today, and they've not really gone away. However, the reason I picked the pocket calculator this time is the fact that the first one I ever had was one with an LED display. And I just loved it. It was, to me, the LED display. And even now, I've got to be honest, the LED display I find absolutely just really captivating. I never got on with LCD. I know that I had LCD watches, etc., etc. But for me, LED was the thing I really loved, and that will be the fond memory I have of the first calculator I had. It was nothing to do with the fact it could add up. Didn't care about that really, but the fact that it was LED was absolutely, that was it for me. I just loved having an LED display, and in fact, you know, briefly touching on the watches, the one watch I always wanted but could never get hold of were those absolute classy looking watches. They were usually like gold with a gold strap with the LED display that you press the button in to get the time. Man, would I have loved one of those. But anyway, I had an LED calculator. That was good enough for me. And yeah, absolutely loved it. Thank you again, folks, for this indulgence again into the minds of retro items. Maybe tell me what you'd like me to cover on the next one. Share any fond memories you got of your retro items. And again, thanks for watching. Consider subscribing and liking, and I will see you again. Thanks, guys. Bless you all. Bye.